We think women need to talk more openly about money because money really matters. It shouldn't be embarrassing or confusing. Join the conversation. We'll be discussing a whole range of topics which will help you get comfortable with your finances. Money Matters. Brought to you by AJ Bell.
Hello and welcome back to the AJ Bell Money Matters podcast. I'm Laura.
And I am Danny. And this episode is all about some little hacks to help you keep more cash in your pocket.
And then hopefully that means you will have more options for your longer term savings and investments as well.
And of course, January is the perfect time to share these top tips with you because despite best intentions, mine included, mid-January is the time many of us quit.
Yeah, Quitters Day, which I think is officially January the 9th, but will obviously vary depending on people and what particular resolution they chose this year. That then is closely followed by Blue Monday, which is officially the saddest day of the year because it's the time when all of the credit card bills land. We realise just how long a month January is until we get our next paycheck, and money feels a little bit tight.
It really does. Way too much month at the end of the money in January. And you see all that unintended Christmas shopping popping up in your credit card bills. And you realise quite how much you have spent. So we do all need a little bit of cheering up and a bit of motivation.
But thankfully, Danny and I have got some help at hand. So we've got another one of our brilliant Money Matters team is joining us. So Hannah Williford. Welcome, Hannah. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Cheery start.
Yeah, you're meant to be injecting the joy and cheerfulness in this, Hannah.
But it will be cheery. It will. Because it is all about helping people feel more confident and comfortable in their finances. And I am absolutely delighted because I've had a sneak peek at some of your top tips. And I have to say that one of those really resonated with me because I have a confession.
A confession. They are meant to be at the end of the podcast, but I'm always so thirsty for confessions. I'll take it at any time. Reveal all, Danny. What's your confession?
As we told our listeners in the last episode, we're mixing things up for 2026, getting our guests to stay with us for the whole podcast. So I also think it's okay to shuffle around when we confess our money habits. And in this case, Hannah is going to talk about one of my huge issues, which is I get to the start of the month when I get my paycheck and I get really excited and I hit the supermarket shop button and I put steak in the basket, and I probably do all those really mundane things like, washing liquid and that kind of stuff. But my supermarket shop at the point of the month when I've just been paid is insane, which means that by the time I get to the end of the month, especially the month of January, it's beans on toast. And that's your first tip, Hannah. So talk us through, because you're going to give us a few tips about staying on the right foot and also helping us stay on that journey.
Yeah, so I am right there with you, Danny. I have found myself spending a little too much early on and then ending the month on a little bit of a rough note. But what I found to be really helpful is to space out your spending and do it very intentionally. So at the start of the month, I find it really helpful to put your income in different pots. A lot of times on banking apps now or on whatever you're using to track your finances, you can split that money out. And so when you're looking at your finances a week at a time, it's a little less easy to get caught up in that start of the month, I'm spending it all, when you're just looking at your first week of expenses. And I think that just also adds a little less stress at the end of the month. I almost feel like it's like when you go on a diet and someone says you can't have anything, and then once you come off that diet, you have everything all at once. I kind of feel like that's what I end up doing when I spread out my spending not so well. But yeah, divvying up that income by week can really help.
Yeah, I think that is a good tip. If you break it down into like week by week, then you're less likely to overspend. It's obviously not going to stop all overspending, but it is a good plan, I think, to kind of eke it out a bit. So, Danny, do you think you're going to start implementing that? Maybe that could be your delayed New Year's resolution for this year.
I think I really should, but I also really love the joy of getting paid and having those little luxuries that you don't get at any other time of the month. So maybe I should just flip it and set aside that cash for the end of the month so that I can have a blowout at the end.
I like that.
Now, one of the things that you confessed last episode, Laura, was that you're going to enjoy your money more, which will undoubtedly mean many more holidays, I guess.
Of course. I mean, it's hard to improve on the number that I have regularly because I only have so much holiday allowance from work. But yes, I've already booked 2 this year, which I think is quite strong going considering we're only in kind of the 3rd week of January. But I also feel like booking a holiday is such a January thing. I've had quite a few friends who you get to January and you think, right, it's pretty grim. I need to book some fun for the year ahead. So, Hannah, have you got any tips for kind of how to budget this? Because holidays obviously are very expensive, particularly for those of us who've got kids in school. And so you're restricted to school holidays.
Yeah, I have definitely been one of those people in conversations this week that have decided I need to go on many holidays right away. But I do think the big thing when it comes to holidays is not putting off doing that booking. So it's really easy for us to get the idea in our head and say, okay, we can't wait to go on this trip, or there's a wedding coming up or some other kind of big event where you know it's coming, but actually taking the dive and spending the money on that flight or spending the money on the hotel is just a bit painful. And so we just tend to kind of push it down the way. Unfortunately, the longer we push it, usually the more expensive those things get. And I feel like I'm always saying to myself, oh no, there's going to be a deal that comes up. And I have not found that to be the case. The kind of agreement I've made with myself is sometimes you can put a Google flight reminder in or something like that. So at least you see, okay, it's getting more expensive. I need to just make the commitment now. And that just helps you get going. It's also nice on the planning side. I feel like I have a couple holidays that I've been planning for about a year with my friends that we have not gone on because none of us want to pull the trigger. So, you know, just making the decision and going for it. And as long as you kind of get that flight booked, I find everything else follows pretty nicely in line.
I think I'm definitely guilty of doing that. But the issue is, I will book one part of the holiday, and then in my head, it is that job is done and I'm excited. So I booked flights probably this time last year for a holiday that's coming up in March. And in my head, I was like, well, that's all sorted. I've now realized that I've not booked anything else, no hotel, no itinerary, no plan of where I'm going or what we're doing. So I definitely think that setting up like a Google Alert reminder or setting up calendar reminders. My logic was I won't book the rest of the stuff to space the cost out, but now I'm in last minute panic stations where, like you say, you're not going to get the best deals. So good reminders. I think that's very good tip.
I'm usually really bad. I'm a bit of a last minute booker for most things. But this year you will be very proud of me, Hannah, because I managed to book my husband's surprise 60th birthday trip. So I'm not going to say where we're going, but I booked it almost a year before we're due to go. So it's all booked, it's all paid for, the car's paid for, the dinner's booked. I feel like I need to get a big tick or a gold star or something.
That is so impressive. And it's also really nice because now you can just actually look forward to it instead of looking forward to it, but also saying, oh, this is going to hurt.
Exactly. And it gives me time to save my spending money as well, because the hard part has already been done. That's all paid for. And I think that's another reason that so many people like all inclusives, especially when you've got kids, because then you're not worried about how many ice creams you have to find the cash for. Laura, I know that you've written a great piece for our website, and two of the small steps that you highlight is, well, they're old favourites, really. And let's start with auto renewals.
Yeah, so I think January, a great time to embrace that kind of let's have some resolutions, let's start a new leaf, let's get some admin out of the way. And I think one of the really good things that you can do is just spend a little bit of time going back through your emails and working out when all of your contracts and insurances and all of those things renew, and then putting a reminder in your calendar and set a little alert for like a month before they're due to renew. Because one of the things that costs us a lot of money as a nation is just letting these contracts roll over. You're almost certain not to get the best deal if you just stay with the same provider and let it auto renew. So things like insurance are big ones here, TV subscriptions, phone contracts. And these are often, if you think about, like house insurance or car insurance, these are big ticket items. And so if you can save money here, then you can actually save a meaningful amount of money. So in terms of the effort put in versus the amount that you can get back out, I think this is a good one, bang for your buck. And then all you need to do is when that alert goes off saying it's about a month until that contract comes up, just shop around and see if you can get a better deal and switch if you can. Or if that feels like too much hassle, just call your current provider, say that you're going to leave, say you want a better deal, and you'll get usually a better deal than just the auto renewal. You probably won't save quite as much as if you switched, but it is a bit less hassle.
You do realize at some point AI is going to be able to do all of this for us. We'll just literally put all of our subscriptions and auto renewals in some kind of document somewhere with these alerts, and it will just find the best deal and sign up. What a brilliant day that would be.
Great use of AI, isn't it?
One that I do find myself having to do every year. I don't know about you, Hannah. How many TV subscriptions do you have at the moment?
So yeah, I am a really big advocate of the cycle subscription. I basically subscribe to things based on what show it has and what I want to watch at the time. But I have a pretty strict rule with myself that I always have Netflix. The other ones, I don't let myself have more than one at a time.
Oh, that's so controlled. I like it.
It is controlled.
Out of necessity.
I'm afraid that's not what I do at all. I end up, I think, because when you've got teenagers, they've all got very specific viewing habits. And it seems to be that they all want to watch a certain thing at different periods of time. And the new series of something might start on Disney the same month as the new series of something on Prime. And it just gets ridiculously messy, particularly when you then have to take out extra subscriptions because they're off at university.
Yeah, I think it's about looking. I think Hannah's method is actually really good because there's only so much time in the day. And so actually there's only so much time that you can spend watching different programs. I do agree with Danny, though, that kids do muddy the waters. Like I have a Disney Plus subscription. That is not for myself. That is for my daughter. And I just don't feel like I can take that away from her. You can't take Bluey away from a 5-year-old. So that's probably money well spent. But I probably should look at some others because I think I signed up to a couple around Christmas time to get Christmas films and I've definitely not cancelled them. So this is a very good reminder for me. But I think generally it's a good reminder for all subscriptions because you can get basically everything on subscription now. And quite often when you sign up to buy something from somewhere, you can accidentally be duped into signing up to a subscription for it rather than just a one-off purchase. So really good idea to just all you need to do is look at 1 month's worth of bank statements and see what you're paying for monthly and whether you're actually getting value out of that, rather than something that you signed up to ages ago that you're not using anymore. Similarly, you can probably negotiate down the price if you've had it for a long time. You might be able to get like a new joiners subscription. So definitely a good one to look at, because you again can save a decent amount of money. If you're paying £10 a month for something, that's £120 a year that you could be saving or spending on something else that you like. You don't have to save all the money, but I mean, it's obviously more financially prudent to do so, but you should just be getting value out of that money.
I had a bad one with that because I forgot about an annual subscription that renewed on Christmas morning.
That's so mean.
So I was in big trouble with my mom. And my £200 years of Vogue magazine. So, oops. I had to make some phone calls.
I've just fallen foul of a subscription for cat biscuits. It's nowhere near as glamorous as Vogue magazine, but
we cover it all on this podcast, though. All walks of life.
Exactly. Well, the issue is that I've set it up for every 6 weeks, but it's clear that the cat doesn't think that 6 weeks is the correct period of time. It should be every 4 weeks. So we ran out of cat biscuits, and I had to buy some additional cat biscuits, which now means my cupboard is full of cat biscuits. And when the next subscription payment comes out and I get more cat biscuits, I'm probably not going to have anywhere to put them. But there we go.
I never heard the phrase cat biscuits used so much in one sentence. But any cat owners, to pop round Danny's if you run out of biscuits.
Sounds like the cat has played this perfectly. He knows exactly what it's doing.
Yes, he has. He does rule the house. One subscription that I did want to flag, which is actually a good subscription to have. Now, I could be talking about gym membership. That's one that I am not getting rid of, and I have not quit. And it's been 2 years now, so I feel like that's pretty good. But another old favourite for the Money Matters podcast is investing. It's setting up your direct debit that goes out on the day that you get paid so you don't miss it. And you are buying then every month. And not only does that mean that you're not really noticing it going out of your bank account and you are gradually building up that investing pot, but of course it means that you're also buying at different periods of the year. So we've had so much volatility over the past couple of years, and if anyone thought 2026 was going to be any different, hello, welcome to the world that has Donald Trump as the American president. So it is just good to be able to buy. Sometimes you'll be buying right at the top end of the market. Other times you might find that the fund or the share that you're buying in a particular company has come down significantly. So over the course of a year, 2 years, it kind of balances out. And of course, helps you build up that investment pot, which then you can use going forward for things like a wedding or a massive holiday, or using those Vogue magazines to buy the perfect, very, very, very expensive dress.
Yeah, I think really focusing on that goal. I mean, we've talked about it a bit before, but like really focusing on what it is that you want to save for, whether that's a specific thing like a super fancy dress or a nice holiday, or if it's just, for your retirement or to have a bit more money in the future, to have more options. I think that is such a crucial thing to focus on and a really good motivator for saving. And Danny, like you say, just that monthly direct debit set up, it goes out without you even having to think about it. And then before you know it, after a year, you've got a little pot of money in your investment account and you can build from there.
It's quite satisfying as well, because I feel like we have to work very hard for the money we earn in our jobs, etc. And having something that's just, you can pop in, have a look, and there's been some nice growth. It's a nice little motivation, and it means that like a very little amount of work of setting that up can go a really long way.
Small steps, Laura.
Yeah, I think so. And then you can add to it as you get little bits of money. So we had a podcast last year called Getting Minted from Vinted, and basically talked about selling stuff on Vinted. So I think this time of year is also when lots of people decide to have a bit of a clear out and declutter. And if you're selling that stuff on Vinted, you could then immediately funnel that money into your savings account or your investment account. And so you can have that monthly amount going in without you thinking about it. And then as you get little bits of money, you can add that into there. And before you know it, you can use those small steps to build up a decent pot.
And you were talking about goals, and I think you're absolutely right. That is just massively important. And certainly when we started doing the Money Matters podcast and we launched the campaign, we started talking to lots of women about how they invest, why they invest, what motivates them. And it is those goals. And if you can explain to people what it is, those little amounts every month, what they can develop and become, how you can save and invest in order to, maybe you want to put an extension on your house. Maybe you want to be able to go and live in Spain when you retire. I think that would be a very nice long-term goal to have. But it is really about talking to people in the way that makes them really connect with their own money, because if you want to be able to have those nice things in life, they don't come without a little bit of effort.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about just focusing on those goals and kind of starting small and working up. And I think that's a good way to kind of start a positive step at the start of the year and then get to the end of the year, and also kind of acknowledge your successes along the way. I think that's a really good motivational thing to kind of pat yourself on the back for starting investing, or for keeping up investing, or for making some of these financial changes that mean that you're a bit better off. I think focusing on the wins is always good.
It absolutely is.
Hannah, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It was your first time. How was it? Hopefully we were nice.
You were very easy to get along with, even though you didn't inform me of the dress code. So, like, a little heads up on that next time. But
yeah, Danni and I basically turned up wearing the same jumper, for those of you who aren't seeing the video version. So yes, we will give you more of a heads up next time.
Now, Hannah, hopefully we will get you back on the podcast. But one of the things that we had to let you in on is the fact, as we said earlier, that we always ask for a confession at the end of the pod. I think I shared quite a lot of confessions this time, but then that's probably nothing new. But have you got a financial confession for us?
Yeah, so I was having a very troubling conversation with a friend the other day where she was saying that she did a calculation of the amount she spent every month on alcohol. And I thought, that wouldn't be great for me, but actually I think what would be worse is if I calculated how much I spent at cafes. I did that, and it is well over £100 a month, which is not great. I love to get a latte in the morning, and if I don't make one at home, I will purchase one because there's a Gales way too close to the office. And on the weekends, I decide it's the perfect time to treat myself to a croissant on both Saturday and Sunday. So it does add up actually quite quickly. I'm not sure I'm ready to actually cut this out because I do think it's a nice little luxury, but the rule I'm trying to get myself to stick with is if I'm going to go make that kind of purchase, I need to actually sit there and enjoy it instead of running around and kind of forgetting about it and leaving it half cold 30 minutes later anyway. So that is putting a significant dent in my monthly budget at the moment.
And next time you come back on the podcast, we're going to see if you've managed to stick to that really enjoying spending that money rather than just spending it and leaving a half-drunk coffee. But I think actually that feels like quite a scary prospect to add up, different categories of spend. I'm not sure I want to do that. A bit like how much you spend on random lunches when you're in the office. I don't think I'm ready to be confronted with my spending in that way. So well done you for being brave enough to add it up.
It's not nice. And now you can give me the evil eye in the office when I inevitably walk in with my coffee.
That's probably a really good last tip to leave people with, to go through their bank account, as we were talking about earlier, with a fine tooth comb, but not only putting it into buckets for the start of the month when you've just been paid and setting aside an amount for every week so you're not completely broke like I am at the end of the month, but also then to really focus in on the different areas that you're spending and deciding if you're actually getting value for money. Makeup, my issue.
Yes. But how are you supposed to know if it's good until you've tried it out once and then decided awful?
Yes, see, I knew I liked you, Hannah. That is it. Shorter, sweeter, hopefully a few tips in there to get you going.
Yep, and you can always get in touch with us. Let us know what you think via our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're at AJ Bell Money Matters.
Or you can email us hello@ajbellmoneymatters.co.uk.
And on the next episode, we're going to be talking about combating lifestyle creep. So coming up, we'll be talking about pensions, money and relationships, and the steps you need to take before you start investing, all in future episodes. But for next week, it will be combating that lifestyle creep, which I am certainly guilty of.
Well, it seems Hannah is with her cafe habits, but thank you, Hannah.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
And thanks to all of you for listening. We will see you next episode.
Before you go, please remember this podcast is for educational purposes, and the views expressed don't necessarily reflect those of AJ Bell. The podcast isn't telling you if a certain investment is suitable or not. Don't forget that the value of investments can change, and you can lose money as well as make it. It's also important to remember that how you're taxed will depend on your individual circumstances, and rules can change. The way an investment performed in the past may not be the same as how it behaves in the future. If you want help, go see a qualified financial advisor.